Hello, Mama. I see you. Welcome back to another episode of No Filter, No Fence, the space where I say what needs to be said without sugarcoating and without holding it back. It's just me, the mic, and the truth. Raw, real, and ready to challenge the way that we think, live, and love. And to our federal workers that are out there that may be furloughed, I want you all to know that we're thinking about you and we're praying for you. Continue to stay strong and know that this too, it will pass, my friends. Y'all, today's show is about mothering then and now. Mothering has always carried the same sacred weight, the weight of protecting fragile lives while teaching them how to stand on their own. It's the ancient assignment to nurture what the world has yet learned to value. We realize that part hasn't changed. It's as true for mothers who boil bottles over open flames as it is for mothers today navigating screen time, schedules, and the silent battles that nobody sees. But the methods of mothering, they've evolved a little bit. Once the village lived on your street, and now it lives in your group chats. You know, kids used to play outside until the street lights came up, and today mothers must parent through the digital world, mental health awareness, social pressures, and the pace that never stops. The recipes are different, but the heart behind them is still the same. And we always recognize that mothers are always going to be resilient because mothers are always going to rise. They decode emotions and they carry invisible loads. They hold families together like mortar between brick. You see, moms translate chaos into safety and fear into courage. As a matter of fact, they turn broken days into bedtime peace. So to every mother that's listening, whether you're parenting like your mother or you're inventing brand new blueprints because the world looks different, I want you to know that you're not falling short. You're not alone and that you're a part of a long lineage of women who refuse to let love die on their watch. So we want to welcome you to this conversation. We want to honor the roots and acknowledge the differences and affirm the brilliance of mothers navigating the right now. Because mothering hasn't changed. Because this has always been a mission. It's just a different battlefield. And I want you to know that you're doing better than you think. Today, I'm excited to have with me my mother-in-law, Christine Magruder, who happens to be a life coach. Not only is she a life coach, she's a baby boomer and a mother who has lived through seasons of motherhood, womanhood, and marriage. She's here to share her journey and her wisdom. Today, I'm honored to have a very special guest, Christine Magruder, who happens to be my mother-in-law. She's a life coach, a baby boomer, and a mother who has lived through seasons of motherhood, womanhood, and marriage. She's here to share her journey and her wisdom with us. Coach Chris, welcome to the Hello Mama series. I'm so glad that you're here. But before we get into the deep questions, let's warm up with a few fun ones so that our listeners can get to know who you are.
Well, first of all, let me just say I'm very excited to be here and humbled that my spave son-in-law would invite me to be a part of this.
Absolutely. I wouldn't have it any other way. So tell us, what was your favorite TV show or radio program when you were raising your kids?
Oh my gosh. Definitely like the Jeffersons. And then moving forward, some different world. And to this day, the Golden Girls. To this very day, I will
Love it.
watch a rerun in a minute. Yes.
Love it. What's one song that takes you straight back to your early days of motherhood?
I was gonna say one specific Luther Vandross song, but honestly, when you ask me that question, anything Luther, anything, it wouldn't matter.
Hmm. You can't go wrong with Luther Vandross. I'm
Not at all.
sorry.
No, no, not at all.
When you think about your younger self as a mom, what is one word that describes her best?
Her best would be, um, I would say her best would be protection. I was probably a little more overly protective than I needed to be, but it didn't seem like that at the time. And part of that probably was, being a little afraid as a mom because you wanna do everything right, and it's an impossible thing to put on you. But I
Mhm.
would say protector or
Mhm.
protection.
Mhm. Just like a good mama.
Yeah.
All right. So, you've raised your children, you are a wife, and now you're guiding others as a life coach.
Mm,
Even if it's unsolicited, you're still providing advice and helping people with their life.
mm.
So, in today's society, so many moms are struggling with overwhelm and loneliness, even while being surrounded by people. I'd like to hear from you, from your perspective. What do you think is most important for moms right now in that situation?
People may disagree with me, but I heard a long time ago, and unfortunately I learned it a bit late. But I learned that if a mom doesn't take care of herself first,
Mhm,
it's almost impossible to take care of everyone else that you're responsible for. I know that if I go out somewhere and I see a mom with, let's say, 3 kids,
mhm,
and the 3 kids look wonderful, neat, they have on cute little outfits, and the mother, her hair's all over the place, and she's got sweats on with maybe stains on it or whatever.
mhm,
That upsets me so much. I think we get lost in mothering sometimes,
mhm,
and we feel like mothering is the most important. While it is extremely important, the primary important thing is for us as moms to take care of ourselves.
mhm,
There's so much that's laid at our feet. There's so much we're responsible for. When something goes wrong with the child, they don't say, "Well, where was the father?" They go,
mhm,
Where was the mother?"
mhm,
Or, "What kind of mother raised this child?" It always falls back on us. So if you take care of yourself first, you are, and what I mean by that, not only the outward appearance, but also the internal of who you are. I was extremely immature when I had our first one. First of all, I can't believe I have a child that's 51, but I do. I'm trying to not go to the liquor store behind that. But anyway, you have to take care of yourself internally, spiritually as well. And when you do that, then you are really able to do so much more as a mom
mhm.
and as a person.
Yeah, that's really good advice. I always think about what they tell you when you get on an aircraft.
Yes, yes,
Before you help anybody else, help
yes.
yourself.
Help
Make sure
yourself.
you're secure.
Mhm.
Our next question that we want to ask you is, when you look back on being a mom in your early years, what do you think was the biggest difference compared to the struggle moms face today?
Oh my. I could not see, there's just no way I could raise a child today. Number 1, the immense distractions that children have today.
Mhm,
When I was raising children, my kids went outside to play. They played with their next door neighbors. Kids could come over and have dinner, pizza parties, without any fear or anything like that. My kids didn't have to worry about going through drills if there was a shooter on campus. None of that
mhm,
happened. Today, in today's world, there's so much more things coming at our children I never would have expected. The internet is a good thing, but also a very bad thing. You have
mhm,
strangers showing up trying to deceive children. You have children going to school where they have to have guards and things to guard against shooters or
mhm,
whatever coming in. The distractions with social media, the bullying that goes on, and you don't know who it is on
mhm,
social media, and children being bullied and going into deep depression. We've gone through a pandemic
mhm.
where our children had to be away from school and away from society for
So
quite a
true.
long time. That has immensely impacted children. If it's impacted adults, which it did, it most certainly impacted children. The things that you and my daughter have to deal with now, and my other 2 daughters have to deal with their children, I just can't imagine having to deal with that. Now, if I was born in this era and had children, I would have to shift into the protective mode, but there's so much more that you have to do. There's so much more dialogue you have to
Mhm,
have with your children compared to when, I was raising children. It's much more important dialogue for different reasons today,
yeah,
which is very scary.
those are very good points. Community has changed.
Yes. My goodness, yes.
Societal norms are a lot different,
Yes.
and just the culture of society has changed so much
So
because as you
much.
stated earlier, your kids used to play outside or
Mhm.
or their friends would come over to the house, and now you have to question whether or not it's even safe
Yes.
to allow, a stranger to even enter your home or for your kids to talk to
Absolutely.
strangers. And so those are really good points and things that have definitely added to the burden
Mhm.
of parenting in today's era. Um, so you lead me to another question, and that's really just around peace. Peace feels hard to find in the middle of life's chaos. How did you, in your season of motherhood, find peace, and what wisdom would you give moms today who are searching for that?
That's a really good question, and I will say, to be quite transparent, I didn't have peace for, quite a while, but my peace comes through my relationship with the Lord. That's first, just being a woman of faith. And, back then when I was raising children, my mom was also alive. She gave such great, uh just like golden nuggets of wisdom. When I was, concerned about one of my daughters, she always came forth with something to calm my spirit. And moms need to know there is something internally in us that we know we're doing the right thing. We may question ourselves, but there's something internal knowing that we're doing the right thing. That our children will turn out to be great people, even if they're messing up right now. If you're doing what you know to do as a parent, and that ought to give us some peace. But I will say ultimately peace for me, honestly, is my faith walk. That there's nothing else that can bring me that kind of peace. And then to surround yourself with other women, mothers in particular, if you can, who have some experiences with their children and you can encourage each other.
Hmm.
That does bring a great measure of peace, or
Hmm.
it did for me, for sure. And to this day it does.
Yeah, that is sound advice. And I think one of the things that kind of stood out is just talking about your support system.
Mhm.
And I think it's super important for us to recognize how important it is to have a support
Yeah. Oh
system.
my goodness, yes.
And we know that it's easier said than done,
Mhm.
because not everybody have folks that they trust or that they can rely on.
Mhm.
But if you can have at least that one person that you can use as a sounding board, so that you're not suppressing
Mhm.
all of that on the inside is going to be helpful. And so I appreciate you for sharing that, Coach Chris.
Mhm.
Let's talk about self love. We throw this term around a lot these days, and I know back then self care wasn't really a word.
No.
Um, so, how did you learn to love yourself while pouring so much into your family?
All right, well, I just have to just rip this Band-Aid off. I went to therapy. I had to go to therapy. I grew up in a home that was quite, dysfunctional. Unfortunately, my dad being an alcoholic, and some of that residue, affected me, as I was growing up, and certainly, as I got married and had children. And so I learned about self-love through therapy. I wish that I had known years before, that I went when Anna your wife, was, she was about 1 or 2 years old.
Mm,
And, it was life-saving for me in so many ways. And, I just want to be the best version of me that I can be, and I certainly wanted to be the best version of a mom that I could be to my daughters,
mhm,
because our children look at us all the time. They observe us all the time. They learn from us, their personalities, the things that uh the way they operate. They're watching us all the
mhm,
time, such as a great responsibility to make sure that you take care of yourself, that there is self-love. Because if your love tank is empty, the first place it should
mm,
start really is with you. We'll if not, we'll look for somebody else to fill that love tank,
mhm,
and we may not necessarily find that person.
mhm,
And so you have to find within yourself how to love on yourself. And like I said, for me, uh, it started with therapy. I had to go. I was a very broken and dysfunctional person. I operate out of a lot of anger. And I know my children suffered the residuals of that. And to go and to target what was making me so angry
Mhm.
and, operating the way that I was truly honestly, I just believe it was life-saving for me
Mhm.
in many ways, not just my life, but, um, it was life-saving for me just to have a life that I didn't have to be screaming at people. I was in church praising God and going
Mhm.
home and being a crazy woman,
Mhm.
and I had to take care of that. It was not good.
Ah, man, that's a big one, especially in our community, is having the courage to say, you know what, maybe I need a third party to help me.
Mhm.
Maybe I need to talk to somebody
Yes,
because all this crazy I got going on in my head just ain't measuring up.
yes.
And I say that because, I too can attest to having lived and experienced different types of traumas
Mhm, mhm.
growing up and trying to love from an empty tank, as you
Ooh,
stated.
yes.
It is so
So
difficult.
difficult. Yeah,
So difficult.
really
And,
is.
I want to encourage folks out there, if you feel that there is something in your life that
Mm.
could be supported through therapy, don't hesitate to
Yes,
seek it.
yes,
Mainly because you deserve it. You
yes,
deserve that support,
yes,
and you deserve to be healed and operate from a whole place.
yes.
And so I want to encourage you to do that. So, since we've talked a little bit about kind of like how you found peace and
Mhm.
how you have managed self love and filling your love tank, let's talk about the other side of it. Let's
Ooh.
talk about your experience being a wife while raising children. What's one lesson you've learned about balancing marriage and motherhood that you wish you knew back then that you could share with moms today?
Ugh, that's kind of a loaded question in a way. One is my husband was definitely a workaholic. It's only because he's 115 years old now that he can't be a workaholic, but work was extremely important to him. Uh, I used to feel I could not ask for help,
Mhm.
and I would get angry with him about that. Um, that wasn't his fault that I felt I couldn't ask for help.
Mhm.
And trying to raise children, and your husband's workaholic, and he's gone quite a bit, and the all of that falls on you. It's tough. So asking for help, in the same way, asking for help, I also learned that I couldn't put my children before my husband.
Mhm.
And that's a real balancing, it was a real I'll say this, I can only speak for me. That was a real balancing thing for me because I had 3 girls. I
Yeah.
had 3 children, and I worked full time, and then I was a wife on top of all that. So trying to manage all that, there was a whole lot of navigating going on, and
Mhm.
I really couldn't have done it without the Lord. I really could not have. But just trying to, manage, having that wonderful time with my husband and being a great mom to the kids and then going out into the workforce and balancing all that. I look back now and I will have to say I'm gonna give myself kudos for that because that was no small task. That's
Yep.
no small task for anyone, even if you're a single mom with children. Ask for help.
Yes.
Ask for help, and don't try to handle everything all the time by yourself. You'll get worn out, you'll get resentful. And I know I used to get resentful a lot because he wasn't there. But some of it my fault because I wouldn't demand that he be there or
Mhm.
wouldn't structure it. So listen, you've got to take such and such a night, and I'll take such a night, the homework,
Mhm.
something like that, balancing it out more. So I look back and wish that I had done, honestly, I wish that I had done that differently. I
Yeah.
could have saved myself a lot of anxiety, a lot of resentment, and, I wouldn't have to forgive so much if
Mhm.
I had done that.
Man, you know what? That advice is fire advice. I say it's fire advice because I had to learn that even in my own marriage, right? I think society has conditioned men that your job is to work, your
Yeah.
job is to provide, and that's it. And we forget that we share in the responsibility
It's
of
true.
raising our children.
Yes.
But thank God my wife finally blew up and said, I need help
Yes.
with these kids. I know you go to work, but I need help.
Yes.
And, having that conversation really opened my eyes
Mhm.
and has really softened it
Mhm.
in a way that, I want to be intentional about how I show up and support her. And so, what I want to say to the moms out there, do not be afraid
No.
to ask for help.
No.
You have that right to say, you know
Yes.
what, I need
Yes.
help.
Yes.
And as a couple, it helps us to create boundaries so that we can create support for our families and show up more intentionally.
Yes.
So, finally, when it comes to our children, one of the heaviest parts of that silent weight is the fear of not doing enough for them. What advice do you have for building a secure, trusting relationship with your children?
Ooh. I think probably most parents may have that sense sometimes that, am I doing enough for my children? We just live in a time where I hear parents say, I just want my child to be happy. And they'll do that to the detriment of the child. They'll enable them in ways.
Mhm.
We certainly, my husband and I have certainly been guilty of that.
Mhm.
There are parents who guilt parent. I just want my child to be happy. We have to understand that we are given the responsibility of raising a child, and we are giving them what they need because they will not always be with us. They will have to grow up and go out into the world, and just trust that you've given your best to your child to grow up in society.
Mhm. Mhm.
When you give the best of yourself as a parent, but don't go by this thing of, I just want my child to be happy.
Mhm.
You want your child to, certainly, yes, I want to be happy. So we want them to be happy, but happy is very fleeting. We have to teach them how to live in this world and to have joy in this world.
Yes.
There is a scripture that even now I have to lean on a lot, and it's Paul. It's a scripture where Paul is saying, if you're familiar with the Bible, it says, learn to be content in whatever
Mhm.
situation I'm in.
Mhm.
I think that's one of the greatest gifts to give to our children. I asked my grandson, your son, this afternoon, I said, what would you like for Christmas? And his response was, I don't know. I thought, what a great answer, because he's
Mhm.
so content with what he has, because a lot of kids will say, I want this and I want that.
Mhm. Mhm.
This is not the first time he's done that. I asked him, "What do you want for your birthday?" I don't know. He's so content
Yep.
with what he has. You all have done a great job. Whatever you're doing, he is very content right where he is. And a lot of parents can't say that. They've got to get the name brand stuff for this, or they've got to do this and they got to do that. And yes, we want to do as much for our children to help them succeed. I don't mean to hold anything like that back, but trust, when you're giving them the ways to handle society and how to use
Mhm.
their manners and things like that. Those are great gifts, and that is doing enough. That is trusting that you've done enough for your children to live on far after you're gone, after
Mhm.
you leave this earth. That's the greatest gift you can give to them.
Man. Coach Chris, I really appreciate you. I appreciate your transparency and your honesty. I appreciate you sharing your heart, your wisdom, and your journey with us today.
Oh,
It's a reminder that while times may change, the core of motherhood, it doesn't change.
no, it
Love is
doesn't.
love is still the same. The
It is.
resilience of being a mom is still the same. Trusting and being there for your family is still the same.
Yes.
And so, if you had an opportunity to share any last words with our mothers that are listening, what would you say to them?
I would say that to be a mom is definitely a blessing and a gift. And you may not always feel that way when children are misbehaving, and they're going to because they're children. I'm sure that I did not make it pleasant for my parents all the time. Um, but wanting them to hurry up and grow up and leave, I can tell you from experience that when that time comes and they are grown and they leave, it really does leave a hole. It really does leave this vacuum, because so much of who you are as a mom is wrapped up in your children.
Mm-hmm.
And try as much as you can to enjoy mothering,
Yes.
enjoy parenting. Yes, do we get tired of them whining and stuff when they're little and they want this, that? Yes, but that is their way of communicating what they need and what they want. Then they become teenagers, and some can be very obnoxious and rude. Yes, that can happen. But I promise it gets better down the road. I
Yes.
will say with all three of my girls, I will have to say, yes, I'm their mom first, but I consider all three of them my friend as
Mm-hmm.
well. And
Mm-hmm.
I know people that is not the case. I just enjoy being a mom. I really enjoy being a grandparent. I enjoy
Mm-hmm.
that whole experience, and I'm so thankful that I was given the opportunity to do such a thing in this world.
Well, again, thank you so much for sharing. You have just rewinded me and kind of took me back a bit. And I want to just be here and kind of sit in this moment and let moms know that we see you, we hear you, and we appreciate you. We want you to keep going. The whole reason why we created the Hello Mama series is to amplify the need to support moms everywhere, because the burden of motherhood is not easy.
No.
And we want you to know that without you, our society would not function. And so we need you, and we appreciate all of you. Family, as we wrap this conversation up, I want every mother listening to hear this clearly. Mothering may evolve with time. It may even evolve with technology, trends, and tools. But the heart of a mother has always been the same. Love is timeless. Sacrifice is timeless. The desire to raise whole, healthy children is timeless. So no matter what society says, you are doing one of the most sacred jobs on this planet. So if today's conversation stirred something in you, I don't want you to ignore it. I want you to reflect on it. I want you to share it. And I want you to, most importantly, give yourself credit for the silent victories that nobody else can see. Listen, we're building this space so you never have to mother alone. We're breaking shame and breaking silence and breaking generational patterns, one honest conversation at a time. So before you go, make sure you take a minute to follow our page, subscribe, turn on notifications, tap in with us on social media, and share this episode with another mother who needs to hear it. Because guess what, y'all? I need y'all to get ready. Episode number 9 is coming, okay? And we're going to go even deeper. We're unpacking something every mother wrestles with but rarely speaks out loud about: mom guilt. The weight of, I'm doing so much, but it feels so less. The pressure of being everywhere for everyone all the time, but rarely there for yourself. Or those quiet tears and the silent apologies, the invisible expectations, all of that. Yeah, we're going there. So until next time, I want you to remember that you are seen, that you are supported, and that you are valued. And you are never alone behind that fence. This is No Filter, No Fence, where real conversations build real community. We'll see you on episode number 9.